Hey guys, how's it going? In today's video, I want to show you my vegetable garden plans for this year, plus a really cool website to help you design your own. So we recently put together a garden tour video. It was actually in January. We plan to do a garden tour video every single month of this entire year, so you guys can see how the garden looks throughout the year, through each season, and through really all the changes we're going to start to make this year. We've got some really fun projects in the works. So in that garden tour video, I showed you guys the spot where I think I'm going to have my vegetable garden. And I'm really excited about it. I actually don't even know how much space I'm going to have yet because there is still a couple feet of snow out there. It is melting finally. It's going away, but I'm kind of keeping my plans a little bit loose for the vegetable garden because I need to be flexible based on the amount of space. But anyway, Gardener's Supply Company saw that video and they contacted me and asked me if I had been on their website and checked out their kitchen garden planner, which is just a planner that helps you design your own vegetable garden space. And I hadn't, so I went and checked it out and I really love it. I think you guys are going to really think it's fun. So I wanted to thank Gardener's Supply Company for sponsoring this video. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a really quick peek at my vegetable garden, and then I'll show you how you can design your own, how the website works, and then I'll get back into my garden and a little bit more details about the design and what I plan to put in it. I've got my laptop right in front of me, and this is my vegetable garden. I am so excited about it. Again, like I said, I don't know exactly how much space I have to deal with until the snow is gone, but I kind of, and this might be a little generous, I put it as being 40 feet wide. I might not have that much space. And that's what happens when I plan stuff out. I get so excited and so into it that I tend to like fudge the lines just a little bit. And then 25 feet deep. So I've got 8 4x8 beds in there and 4 4x4 beds. And then I plan to put something fancy, maybe a large pot with some herbs or flowers or a fountain in the center. So I am super, super excited about it. So anyway, let me show you how you can design your own. It's super easy. So open up a new tab and go to gardeners.com, and that will take you to Gardener's Supply Company's website. And then hover over the Advice tab on the right-hand side and then go down to Kitchen Garden Planner and select it. And that takes you right to the place where you can get started. So you can see on the left-hand side, there's a bunch of resources, which I can talk about in just a minute, but I just want to get right into planning. So right here in the center, you'll see that there's an option for pre-planned gardens and design your own garden. And let me just say that this whole thing is based on the square foot gardening method, which I think is super applicable to any gardener out there, to people who are planting things on a patio in containers, all the way up to people who are doing raised beds, larger scale gardening, and even in-ground planting. So what it does is it delineates everything in your garden by 1x1 squares so that you can really plant efficiently, get the most out of your garden, plus it helps with weeds when you're planting that intensely in your space. Not only do you get a lot of produce, but there's no room for weeds to grow. So that's even more awesome. It's less work for us. So I'm going to show you the pre-planned gardens tab first. Click on it. And right up at the top, it gives you 26 pre-planned garden options. And I think that this is really good for anybody who's a beginner, or really even inspiration for those of us who've gardened more. So you can go either to the right or the left, and you can see all the different options that are available. So I just want to talk about this first one here. It's called Cook's Choice. And right here, it gives you kind of a synopsis of what you can expect from the garden. And you can kind of see a little sketch of what it might look like. And then if you scroll down, it shows you everything, what's in each 1x1 square. This is a 3x6, and you can see that there's basil and parsley, onions, spinach, tomatoes, etc. And then if you scroll down even more, it gives you a planting guide for each one of the crops that you have in that garden. And I think that this is probably the most helpful thing on this site, because when you choose, like this first one, you choose basil for your garden, it tells you how deep to plant the seeds, when to plant them, whether or not you should do it inside or outside, how far you should space them, the days to harvest, and then it gives you some tips and hints for growing each individual crop. So some things that can help you have more success with the crop. So if I scroll down, it's got all of the different things that are in that bed. Now, the cool thing too about this, that even though it's a pre-planned garden, if it has one thing in it that you don't really care for, like this garden has Swiss chard in it, and I'm not a huge fan of Swiss chard, so you can edit it. So you might like everything else about it, but want to get rid of the chard. So I'm going to hit the edit button there. And then you can go through all of these options. Right here is the list of vegetables and herbs, and you can hit previous or next and go find the crop that you want. So let's say instead of Swiss chard, you want to put beets in there. I like beets more than Swiss chard. So you just drag and drop the beets and drop it right over that Swiss chard square, and you can see it populates. And it also shows you how many to plant in that area. So I know that when I plant beets in that square, I can plant 9. So that's really it for the pre-planned gardens. I highly recommend going through each one of those and just checking them out and see how they've got them all planted together. It's really interesting. So let me show you how you can design your own. So you go over to the left-hand side and select Design Your Own. And the first thing that will come up is Design Your Row or Bed. So this is where you can adjust the size of all your raised beds, design them all. So I'm going to just start by adjusting the width to 2 feet and the length to 4 feet, just a nice small bed. And then you can see right here, there's the list of all the items. So there's herbs, fruit, vegetables. You can hit previous or next to see them all. And all you do is drag and drop what you want in each square foot. So I'm going to start with basil right there. Select beets, and you'll see as you drag and drop things in, it'll show you how many plants you can expect to have grow within that square foot, which I think is really neat. So we'll put beans in there. I'm gonna go over and put a cherry tomato in this corner, and that's something I wanted to talk about as well, were larger type crops. So if you've ever grown things like a cherry tomato, you know that some varieties can get really good size. So you just want to keep in mind when you're choosing your varieties to choose something compact or dwarf, something that wants to stay a little bit smaller, or you can allot the amount of space that a bigger plant will need. So if you do want to grow an heirloom type large tomato plant, just make sure that you're allotting the right amount of space. The other couple things you can do are make sure to plant those crops toward the edges of the bed so that they can spill a little bit over, and that way you can still utilize all the space within your bed. You can also stake and trellis. So vine crops, like things like cucumbers, you can put a trellis in, have them grow up, and that way you can still utilize all your space. So keep that in mind when choosing your varieties. So I'm going to finish up with chives, cilantro, and then I want to put in a little bit of leaf lettuce. Let me find it. Here we go. Leaf lettuce right there. So when you're happy with your plan, there are a few different options. So right up here, you can print it, you can email it, you can start over. If you're not happy, if you decide you just want to try again, hit start over and it'll clear all what you've done. You can also edit plan. So if you hit edit plan, see how it changes the way it looks. You can go in and put in individual varieties. So let's say I want to do slenderette beans. There you go. And you can do that on every one of the squares so that you can delineate everything down to what variety you want to grow. And then when you're happy with all of it, you can save it. So you click save. You can name your bed. So I'm going to name it 2x4 raised bed. And then you put in your email address, and this will allow you to recall all your plans later. So my garden plans at gardenanswer.com and your zip code, and then any notes about the garden. So I'm just going to put in tomato, lettuce, beans, herbs, just so I have something to jog my memory as to what's in that bed, and then hit save. So that's how you design your own row or beds. It's really easy. So at this point, you can go over to design your site plan, and this is where it gets really fun for me. I mean, I really like to design each individual bed, but to design the whole garden, like to see the design come together, that's when it gets really exciting for me. So you can adjust your width or length depending on how much space you have in your garden. You can see here you can either place a saved garden like we just saved, or you can place a pre-planned garden. So any of the 26 pre-planned gardens that they have available, you can place those at this point. So I'm going to select place a saved garden. You put in your email address and hit go. And there it is, 2x4 raised bed. So you select it and hit place, and you can see it right there. It places it right up at the top left corner. And at this point, you can rotate it however you want, and you drag and drop it. So keep in mind that each square represents 1 square foot. So if you need to make sure to allow room for pathways, just keep that in mind. I like to leave 3 foot in between all of my beds if possible, so I can get my garden cart in between them. So that's how it's done. You just create your rows and beds, save them, and then you go into design your site plan and place them all. Let me just place a pre-plan so you can see that. So place a pre-planned garden and then see them all right here. Let's say I want to place that Cook's Choice garden. You select it, hit place, and there it is. Say I want to rotate it, and let's say right there. So you can just have fun and design it to your heart's content. You can save it. Again, under your email address, you can name your site. So let's just say this is our garden plan 2017, and hit save. And that way you can load it back up later and you can make any changes or anything that you want later on. So that's it as far as designing and planning everything out. Keep in mind that on the left-hand side here, there are a ton of options. There's a ton of resources to help you learn more about all the different crops that you can grow. So there's a planting and care tab that'll help you choose what to grow, where to plant it, what kind of watering it needs. There's also a pest and disease directory, a rainfall calculator, a zone finder if you're not sure what your growing zone is, a vegetable encyclopedia, which is just a wealth of knowledge. It talks about all the different kinds of vegetables that you can grow and just tips and tricks on having success with them. So I just think it's a really neat way to design your garden, and it's a good way to save it. You know, you've got it here, you can email it to yourself, you can email it to somebody else, and I'm just such a visual person that to see things come together with color, and you can see the type of crops that are in each box, it's just such a pleasing thing for me. Okay, so let me go back to my garden and show you a little bit more about what's going to be in it. So the first thing is, imagine right along this top line here that there is an evergreen hedge. I am planning on putting in a North Pole arborvitae hedge. I just want it to be a green wall, just something that kind of disappears, but it's pleasing to look at and it's still there in the wintertime. So, and that's our property line. So that'll run right along the back side. I would love to put just a short natural wood, kind of grayed out natural wood picket fence along the whole perimeter. And there will be an arbor on each side, and then right here in front with arbors with something very pretty growing on them. And there'll probably be some things growing along the outside because I do like formality. Like the way that this is laid out is a very formal. It'll be fenced off from everything else, but I do like to have a little bit of softness too. So to kind of give it, I don't know, just a little bit of dynamic. I don't want everything to be harsh and, you know, straight lines everywhere. So I may get some really pretty perennials and some color to grow on the outside. And then, like I said, in the middle, I haven't decided whether or not I'm going to put a big pot or a fountain, something like that, just to bring some really nice, I don't know, something really nice to look at in the middle. So these top two beds on the left and right hand side, you'll notice that there's a lot of balance going on in the garden, and that helps with the formality. I'm going to do corn and potatoes, and I chose to put those two crops together just because they're ones that you can kind of plant and just leave them. They're long season crops. They're not something I'm going to have to continually be ripping out and planting new things in. So I'll probably do the two most popular varieties of corn in our area are Ambrosia and Serendipity. Potatoes, I'll probably do Red New Orleans as an early option, and then Red Pontiacs because they're a really good storer, and Yukon Golds probably. For the two top beds here, and really this whole middle kind of mirrors each other. In each corner, I'm going to do tomatoes, probably varying from cherry tomato to regular tomato. I haven't decided on varieties on those yet. And then around each tomato, I want to do a swoop of beans and peas. So early season, I'll have peas in there, and I like snow peas, so I'll probably do, I don't know. I don't know what varieties exactly on that yet either. I usually grow Oregon Sugar Pod or the name's evading me right now. But I'll do those early, and then I'll tear those out and put my beans in. And then along the back side here, there's broccoli, and then green onions, and then there's lettuce, head lettuce on this side, and beets and kale on this side. And then along the interior of all the beds, there's going to be cabbage, and I'm going to do red cabbage on opposite corners and green cabbage on the other corners. I think that'll look really, really pleasing. I love the look of cabbage. It looks so, I don't know, it's not messy. It looks very tidy. I like that kind of clump look. So that will be on the interior. And then on these front two beds for the middle, I've got carrots on either side, leaf lettuce here, which is a mirror of that bed. And then there's beets and kale here, which is a mirror of that one. Then we've got the beans and peas as well, right around each one of the tomatoes. And then for the front beds on the left and right, I've got onions on this side. Nope, that's garlic. I've got garlic on this side, a cucumber here, which I allotted to a 2x2 area because I want to do something. I want to have the option of letting it get a little bit bigger. I do like Suya Nishiki cucumbers quite a bit. We do a lot of Thai cooking, so I like cucumbers that don't have a lot of pulp in the center. And then bell peppers, we'll do 4 bell peppers there, and then spinach right along the edge. And then on this side, there's onions there. And then we've got hot peppers, another cucumber, and then spinach. So that's the plan right now. I'm trying to be flexible because I just don't know what kind of space I have. I'm thankful for whatever space I end up with because in the past, vegetable gardening has been a little bit hard for me. We were in a duplex before. It was a townhouse. It had a really small yard, and so I did a lot of my vegetable gardening in containers. I built a little raised bed for our back patio that I could grow things in. I even had stuff at the nursery. So I had stuff planted there and at my parents' house. So my garden was all around the valley. It was not in one spot. It was really hard to really get any good amount of produce off of it. So I'm super excited to have everything in one location. You'll notice I didn't put really any vining crops like squash, winter squash, things like that, because I think I'm going to do that in a different area where I can let them just sprawl and be big. And I like to plant a lot of those for decorations. So that'll be in a different spot. So this plan is how it stands right now. It might be able to expand a little bit if I have more space, or I might have to scale things down just a tad. But I do plan on putting in cedar raised beds for the whole thing. I haven't decided what I'm going to put down as my soil top dress, but it's going to be so exciting, you guys. I'm so excited to start this year and be able to do something like this. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, seeing my vegetable garden plans for this year, and I hope you get a chance to try out this website. And if you do, I kind of want to do something fun. I think it would be fun if you guys do design your beds to take a picture of it and then post it onto social media somewhere. It can be on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. Just make sure you tag us, Garden Answer, and then tag Gardener Supply Company. And that way we'll be sure to see it, and then we'll come up with some kind of giveaway. I'm not sure yet, but maybe seeds or something to help you guys get started. But I think it will be really fun to see what everybody's coming up with. I know it's really inspirational to me to see what everybody else is coming up with, and I'll probably gather some new ideas from you guys as well. So thank you guys so much for watching this video, and we'll leave a link below so you guys can go check out this website. And thanks again, you guys, so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video. Bye.